sign, and that everything is working together for your highest good, that you're at the right place in the right time where you are right now. It's not about being somewhere else, it's about being here now. Sounds like a book back in the 60s, doesn't it? About being here now. You know, every moment is filled with pregnant possibilities, but you can only experience them if you're loving. No? So,
Okay, I have a question on trines.
go ahead.
Couldn't a trine cause something or give a potential for something to happen easily that's not good?
Oh boy, that's a good one. That's a good one. Sherry, don't do this to me. I never thought about that. I never did. I guess if intentions are bad, and a person's really, there is a truth to that. I'll tell you where it is. Let's take a person that's a good con man, that's using his knowledge.
Let's say Neptune trine Mercury.
Okay, we have potentially deceitful speech. Somebody can lie very well and betray people very well. So, you know, this isn't, I've never ever thought and even gone that direction with my thinking.
Oh, mine's weird.
I know, but I like it. I like it. Because you're asking me, can good things be used for bad? Obviously that's true. You can burn a house down with fire, or you can build a, you know, make a nice warm place. I think that that's astute, very good. Especially if other qualities in the chart tend to make that character that way. You know what I'm saying? Where they would abuse those good things and make them useful for their own devious means. I like that. I like that. I've never considered that at all, ever in all those years I've been doing this. That could be something of a negative thing.
Like my son has two, like I told you, two trines.
Grand trines.
And things come so easy to him. He doesn't have to put a lot of effort into doing things. And is that good or is that?
But he doesn't use it for
He
negative.
doesn't do what?
He doesn't use it for bad.
No.
No, but two grand trines.
It's like, do something.
Yeah, because a grand trine means you have in a past life already perfected these synergies. You know what I mean? You have come into this life with a blessed talent. Now, one of the things I've found with...
And that's triplicity is a trine?
Exactly. If you have three planets doing this, like this, these I'm showing you how they work by
That means
interpreting.
they have a certain talent.
Yeah, you know, or qualities that are very positive. You know, Venus to Mercury is pleasing speech. Why would that be? Well, because Venus is very peaceable and loving, and they would tend to be. Mars to Mercury, like I have Mars squaring Mercury. If I get angry, I become very awful. No, I have to confess that. I know that. Ask my wife. If I get angry, if my temper comes up, I do several things. One, I don't speak well. When I was young, by the way, I stuttered till I was about 12 years old, 13. I stuttered very badly. I overcame it in speech classes when I was young by taking speech in school. And my father used to always stop me when I'd start stuttering and say, stop, think of what you're going to say, and start over. And that helped a little bit. But the thing that, anyway, but that Mars will mar Mercury, the speech. Mars can mar the speech. I grew up, I would have never thought I would make my living speaking or doing radio shows I did for years. I still talk fast though, right? So my wife notices when I get upset, she's like the mirror to me. She says, I know you're hungry, and you know, I know where you're at, you know, you need to eat because you're talking too fast. So, you know, she picks that up. She's like a mirror for me to see myself. And of course, when I'm like that, I don't want to hear it. So, leave me alone, I don't need to eat. You know? So Mercury, Mars, that's what it does. You know, quick to temper, quick to speak.
With a square?
Yeah, I've got a square, my Sun and Mars. Sun and Mercury both are squared from Mars. And I also tend to, I can use foul language when I get very angry, which I don't use normally. I'm not a person that likes to use that kind of language, but I don't care when I get angry.
Okay, so.
I don't say, people can hear you. I say, I don't give a you know, who hears? I'm going to say what I got to say.
Okay, so how about Mars trine Mercury? Wouldn't it be easier to get off the handle?
No, I don't think so. I think they have much more control and positive forceful control over that energy.
Has to try.
Yeah, I'm trying. Am I making any sense with all this? It's starting to come together a little bit? Okay, so let's look at some of these things I wrote, just so you can get a sense. Here we got Jupiter trine Uranus, we got Jupiter trine the Sun. If you look at Jupiter trine the Sun, I've written some of the meanings. A very magnanimous spirit. First of all, magnanimous is the meaning of Jupiter. Jupiter was called magnanimous. Mag means what? Large. Animus means what?
Soul.
Animal. Yeah. So magnanimous, magnanimous. So large animal. In fact, people that have strong Jupiters, like I do in my chart, really should have big dogs or big horse. You see what I mean? Big animals.
Yeah.
And there's something the dog itself would identify with you. Does that make sense? I mean, the dog will relate to you. The dog will be in tune with your soul and your spirit more than anything. I mean, this dog will follow me everywhere. If I go to the bathroom, he's got to be at my feet. If I go lay down, he'll be there. If I'm here, he's here.
Mine are like that too.
Yeah.
My dogs are like that. What does that mean?
Well, this means the Jupiter in your chart is really powerful.
It works like a magnet also, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
mag-
So,
the
yeah,
word
so,
magnet is in there.
so what did I say? Magnanimous spirit. Why spirit? Jupiter trine what? The Sun? Spirit, Sun. You all getting this? You see how they work? If you have Jupiter trine the Sun, see, I have Jupiter trine my Sun even though I have Mars squaring my Sun. And that also applies to me. So I'm a magnanimous spirit, I'm optimistic. It says optimistic spirit. Why optimistic spirit? Because what has my whole life been about teaching people to be what? Optimists. Have faith in what? Good. Stop being a pessimist. Stop believing in everything's going to be bad. I wrote a whole book about all this, basically. I've spent my life teaching and training people how to be optimists. Why? Because I have Jupiter trine my Sun. Okay, magnanimous spirit, optimistic spirit, love of religion and philosophy. Well, of course, do I have a love of religion and philosophy? Spent my whole life studying it. Okay? Long journeys. I mean, I spent 4 years in the Navy. I traveled the seas. I have Jupiter in Pisces that rules the seas, rules the oceans. Pisces, Neptune, right? I spent 4 years at sea, traveling the oceans, Japan, China, Philippines. You know what I mean? So, I mean, this fits me perfectly because of this aspect, okay? So, it says prophetic spirit. I know I have that. I've been blessed with that. Okay? A sympathetic and understanding. I can be that. I can. My wife might disagree at times. But I would tell you that energy is that aspect. Okay? So, just so happened to be something in my chart. Now, Jupiter trine Uranus, I don't have that aspect, but it's inspired genius, I wish I had. Okay, original outlook in religion and philosophy. Maybe view New Age in approach to spiritual, very New Age in approach to spiritual and ideas, compassion for mankind. Very humanitarian energy. And Jupiter's for the good, okay? Unless, like you say, it's used a different way. You threw me on this, girl.
Maybe
She
Mother,
did, she threw me. She's the only
Mother
person.
Teresa had that, didn't she?
Who?
Mother Teresa.
Had trine to Uranus?
Jupiter and, yeah,
Did she? I don't know, did she?
I think so.
You've been studying the charts?
No, I think I heard a comment
Did
by
you?
someone.
We should
on
look
radio.
up that. Maybe get on the computer this week and see if you can get a chart.
Because, you know, they compare all these things.
Yeah. If you get a chance, go online and see if you can get Mother Teresa's chart, and we'll look at it next week.
Sure.
Okay. All right. All right. So you see how we're reading this, okay? You get a sense of it, right? Okay.
So are those just examples, or are these like set
They're kind of set.
things to look for?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like if you look at your chart, we're going to do this if you want to. Bury your soul in the group will do it. Everybody's going to get a good chance here. We've got a lot of time for this, so don't feel you left out today if you didn't get covered. I'm going to spend time with all of you, and I'll try to spend some personal time as we can, okay? I love you all. I want to see your lives change. I want to see it transform. I want to see you go out of here a new being. And I'm telling you, I've been to hell and back. I know how to get out of it. I know how to come out of that place. And we can all have wonderfully blessed lives. And it's not hard. It's just really being thankful you know, when we become a thankless country, we lose our country. We become a thankless person, we lose our lives and all the good that's in them. When we begin to be blessed and understand how blessed we are. You know, on my business card many years ago, my ex-wife came up with the idea, but I thought it was great. I put it on my business card. To be blessed is to know that you are. And maybe I'm lucky, I've traveled the world. I've seen poverty beyond poverty. I've been to other countries and I see how people have to live, you know, in some of the worst places on the earth. And you know, we take it for granted. All the good things we have. We have so much blessing to be. How many times do we say thank you and thank those that have blessed our lives? Good comes through other people because God dwells in other people. God is in every temple around here. And all that God wants is you to be thankful and to be praising Him. Well, how am I going to praise and give thanks to God unless I do it to you? And to you, and to you, and to you. How am I going to praise God if I don't praise Him in the temples that are walking about here and there? Did you ever happen to see the great YouTube thing that came out? Victoria, dearest friend of ours in California, sent it to me again. And I'd seen it before, but I watched it again last night. It's called Validation. Yeah, it's so good, it's validation. This guy's at a garage and he's validating tickets for their cars as they come up. And everyone that comes up, he says something to them about how beautiful they are. Oh, you have the most gorgeous eyes. And what a beautiful suit. That suit is just made for you. And everybody that comes, and pretty soon the line's getting longer and longer because people want to get validated.
Yeah,
And
right.
so, he's got this huge thing. Then he goes to get a driver's license, and the woman says, you can't smile. And she's a gorgeous knockout woman, she's taking the pictures, right? And he wants to smile so bad, and she won't let him smile. And then she won't smile. And then the story goes, and finally, it's a cutest little thing. Somebody put it together. It is so fun. If you go on your computer, and I think if you just type validation, you probably find it. And what it does is, to me it did anyway, and in fact the woman that sent it to me, Victoria, I wrote her back, I said, Victoria, the one thing this little YouTube video did for me was remind me of you, because she was the most validating person I've ever met in my life. You go visit, she was a devotee of Sai Baba. And we used to go there my wife's a devotee of Sai Baba.
Wow.
But we would go there to the meetings and we would, at the satsang, and we'd chant. But you go into her presence and she makes everybody feel like they're the most important person in the world. You walk in her home and she introduces you to this is the greatest astrologer around. You know what I mean? Your head gets like this. She just makes you feel so good. She validates you. What I want you guys to do is, I want you to go out and validate others. Start blessing others and you'll get blessed. Good comes through others, but how do you bring the good out of them? Praise and give thanks. Start seeing the good in your fellow person, the people around you. Start blessing them and blessing yourself. Okay? Don't curse. Don't find fault. People don't need that. They need to be lifted up. If a man has 9 faults and 1 virtue, dwell on his good. You know what will happen? You may transform that man by dwelling on the good instead of spending time dwelling on all the 9 faults he has. You understand where I'm coming at? So walk out of here a new being. Go out here and start changing people's lives and stop being self-centered. Get outside yourself. Start looking at other people. What can I do to make other people's lives more blessed and more beautiful? And then you know what happens? Your life gets blessed. Because people want to do things for you. They reach out to you. And the people that have already been doing things for you, giving to you and loving you, take some time to appreciate it, to thank them, to praise them, to make their day worthwhile, And by doing so, you'll be blessed. Okay, enough preaching, huh? So, where are we at? So, I want you to look at this here. This is in your thing. You got to go, I know. You got time? You got to have. Last thing, this is in your book. If it isn't, let me know because you need to have this. This is showing how the squares and oppositions can work in terms of dynamic aspect. Is it in your book?
Yep.
Oh, my good. Which way did I go? There we go. Put it down so I don't do that. So, I want you to really understand this. This will give you a real good sense of understanding aspects, okay? The cosmic or grand cross. Linda has a cosmic cross. I have a cosmic cross. Now, first thing we say, oh, geez, I was born with a cross. What do you think? Gosh, isn't that terrible? No, it's not terrible. Let me tell you why. Okay? Because it makes for strength. Have you ever seen the Irish blessing? May the road always rise up to meet you.
Yep.
Excuse me.
It's all right, then.
Hello?
What does it go? And the sun always shine, and you've seen it, right?
Yes.
I always said I would never want that blessing on my child
Yes, sure.
because it'll make a weakling. I want my children to learn how to deal with adversity in life.
Yeah, no
I
problem.
want them to be strong. They're not going to get strong by being everything given to them.
I'll be there
Everything's,
at 8.
you know, how many weaklings we create in life. How many rich parents have destroyed their children with all of their, you know, never taught them to be self-sufficient, right? So crosses aren't bad. They make strength. They make for strength. Okay, if you, in my wife's case, she has a Mars-Saturn affliction. Okay? That can be hard, Mars-Saturn. Mars rules the muscular body, is the muscles of the body, the strength of the body, if you would. Saturn rules skeletal frame, teeth and bones. If you have a Mars-Saturn affliction, some of you do, I think, for sure. Who had a Mars opposition, Saturn? Somebody did.
No.
Huh? I'm gonna do you, you're gonna get some time on
I
your chart.
have no idea.
Well, let me see your chart, so we're doing all this, everybody.
So many, I
If
keep
you
going
have that
back and
Mars,
forth.
Don't worry about it, don't worry. Be patient, be patient. We're
Here
gonna,
were you born?
we got a lot of,
54.
okay. Yeah,
Yes.
you don't have a Mars, you have an
I
opposition.
have Mars opposition.
Yeah. One of the things, that anybody has a Mars opposition Saturn, or squaring, like Elena has, they need to be physically doing something active, physical
That's what you
exercise.
said.
They need to be in a gym. They need to do something recreationally that expends a lot of energy. If they don't, they become quite hard to live with because they get irritable and they get depressed. And what they're doing by using, like Elena's at the gym almost daily, I mean, as much as she can go. And she works out, she's really physical. But that is her way of dealing with that kind of energy. And if she knows it, she knows if she misses too much of that, she's gonna get irritable and she's gonna get depressed.
I need that drive too.
You need it, yeah. So you need that, you need to take that energy and put it into a positive expression, okay? So, in this case, we don't have Mars, well, we do Mars square Saturn here. Mars rules bones, teeth, and injuries, business conflicts, power and success drives. Again, it's squaring, okay? So we're talking about the square aspect. Anybody that has those aspects very often can have problems with arthritis, anything to do with the bones. They can have problems with teeth, injuries. It's an injury aspect very often. It can be chronic pain. Why chronic? What is one of the names of Zeus? I mean of Saturn, rather. Anybody?
Chronos?
Good for you, Chronos. The word chronic came from Chronos. So chronic pain, Mars is pain. Chronic is Chronos. So an aspect of affliction between those two planets can cause chronic pain. Or,
Like migraines?
yep. Why do you have that?
And Cronus was
Huh? You have a big planet?
indestructible.
Huh?
He was indestructible.
Yeah.
Cronus, right?
Yeah. See, and she has chronic migraine headaches all the time.
Oh,
And she has that aspect. So, you see how the charts are talking to us. She's starting to see, you're starting to see, okay? This chart here, we look at Patricia. You go by Patricia?
Pat.
Pat? Okay, good.
So that's Mars opposition Saturn or Mars square Saturn.
Yeah, or it can be 150 degrees. I know you gotta get it.
Okay.
Give me a hug first.
Bye,
Yeah.
Sherry, see you next week.
I love you, girl. Take care.
Oh,
All right.
bye.
Bye.
So, okay, we're gonna get to Pat's chart in a second here. Before I wanna go through this, and then we'll talk
that's
about your.
fine.
You have Saturn opposing your Sun in your chart, and It's conjunct, it's a wide orb, it's pretty wide, okay? It's almost conjunct the moon, opposing the sun, 18, 25, and Taurus, let's see here, and squaring Pluto. Pluto, Sun, Saturn square, it's a T-cross. You're born in a high altitude, weren't you? Belfast is a pretty
Yeah.
high altitude, isn't it?
Northern Ireland.
You know how I can tell that? Because
It's just there
Were you?
in Belfast.
were you?
Oh.
You have to talk, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, let's go back this time, we'll come back to this. Moon square Mars, emotionally impulsive. Why would we say that? Mars likes to jump out there, it's gotta get out and get done. It's an action thing, emotionally impulsive. Jump and leap before you think. I'm gonna do it on emotion. That's what Moon square Mars does. Okay, his feelings are hurt easy. People that have afflictions between Mars and Moon generally are quick to get angry and emotionally upset about things. They're hurt feelings. Why feelings? What's the Moon? The way you feel, right? So is this starting to come together for you? Huh? I know this is your second time through, but you're probably getting it even more. So we're getting with Mars, Moon afflictions. Anytime you see that, you know that person's feelings are you heard the expression thin-skinned? You know, that's kind of what that is. That's like, boy, you can't say anything and they get upset. Okay, now, this is good to know. Think about this. If you're in a relationship and you're having struggles with your relationship, just think how much insight you'll have into your mate. My God, you'll be ahead of the game. You know what I mean? So, let's keep looking at this. So, feelings are hurt easy. Subconscious conflicts. Why that? Help me out. Subconscious conflicts. Why do you think we have that?
Moon's subconscious and
Good.
conflicts with Mars.
Good, very good. Okay. Deep-seated anger. Why is it deep-seated? It's in the soul and the subconscious. It's deep in there. It's not on the surface. Okay, like the sun would be on the surface if you had an affliction between Mars and the Moon. You would see it on the surface much more consciously. Okay? Okay, compulsive desires. Why compulsive and why desires? Moon is compulsive.
Right.
Remember, it's the mother need to be mothered and nurtured. Compulsive eating, compulsive. I gotta, swatch my pain. And then Mars is what?
Action.
Okay, good. Compulsive desires. Stomach. This is very sexual, by the way. Compulsive desires can be a sex addict, for example. Somebody that's actually always needs sex. I haven't got that aspect, but I've got it. Anyway.
What if Mars and Moon are in the same house? Then it's not a.
Well, they could be conjunct.
Okay,
together.
Conjunct is in the same house.
Yeah, well, not always. They got to be within each orbit of each other.
Oh,
Yours are together, yeah.
okay, so
There.
are these all together, these three as well?
No, just these two. Your Mars is conjunct your
And
Moon.
these are conjunct too?
Yeah. Jupiter and Saturn. Remember, Jupiter-Saturn conjunction is potentially a manic depressive aspect. Why do I tell you that? What is Jupiter? Optimism. What's Saturn? Pessimism. Saturn's what? I'm not worth a thing. Jupiter is the opposite. The future's bright, I'm going to make my life good.
And I have those thoughts at the same time, all the time.
Yeah, because
Like
I,
they
They're
conflict
conflict,
all
yeah.
the time.
yeah, but see, you're in touch with your own sense. Most people aren't as honest as you are about yourself. Quite frankly,
They might not know themselves, I studied it. So I gotta figure it out.
Yeah, see, that's a very hard aspect to live with because it's such
It is.
it's a seesaw back and forth. One moment you're up, the next moment you're down. Say, I just was up, so feeling so good, now I'm down again. So anyway, okay, so you have that aspect, by the way, honey. Okay, you have the Moon conjunct Saturn. You know that? Okay, so and well, we'll get to. Let's try to not get. It's hard to stay on course, but I want to. Okay, Mars. Where are we at? We're up here. Stomach ulcers. Okay, it can be Mars, Moon. It can be stomach cancer. It can be stomach anything that injures, right? Mars.
See, I've had ulcers, but I don't have them
You have a Mars moon,
I mean, conjunct.
they're together. That's a conjunction. It's the same thing.
Oh, I thought that it had to be a square.
No, it doesn't have to be square.
Oh, conjunct is.
It's actually more damaging to have them together
Yeah.
sometimes because they're right on top of each other. So, you know, a conjunction, by the way.
That's part of the chronic.
But I'm glad that, yeah, I'm glad that you, you know, you say that because we're talking about squares and oppositions, but a conjunction is the same, okay? We only have 20 more minutes,
Yeah,
okay?
don't even bother with mine, do it next week, don't even worry about it.
Okay, well, okay. Coldly aggressive, cruel, okay, oh, we're down here, we're up here. Immature sexually, moon to Mars, emotional outburst, that can be very much. The thing about the moon-Mars aspect is, Mars is anger, moon is suppressed. People that have Mars, moon like you do, you suppress it all your life. And what happens is it tends to create problems in the internal organs, okay? Particularly the stomach, because it's in Cancer in your case. And
And the liver, no?
it can, yeah, anything to do with internal. But particularly in a woman, it can be the breast and it can be the stomach very strongly. Suppressed anger, pushing it down. She did that all her life.
Bile or something.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, the fact is, you're living your chart. Your chart, you are
I know,
a perfect mirror. Aren't you glad you came?
yes, because I have to figure it out.
We'll figure it out, don't worry. We're gonna get some answers on this group.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's go to Moon to Mercury. Emotional, mental confusion, afflictions between those two. Mental, obviously, Mercury. Also speech, emotional, can be very emotional when they talk. Have a lot of conflict when they talk. They tend to create conflict, emotional conflict with their speech. Okay, you been around people like that?
I've got that one too.
You got that too?
I do.
Okay, okay. It can be childish and foolish, I told you that earlier, it can be, okay. Speech response, conflict between mother and brother, very strong. Okay, moon is mother, brother, Mercury, right? Moon to Mercury. Thoughts and habits in conflict. Thoughts is Mercury and habits is your moon. Okay, is all making sense? Emotional mental breakthroughs, or breakdown, right? Emotional mental breakdown at the worst. And immaturity of thinking and speech. Okay, these are potential, okay? Then we go from Mercury to Saturn. We got self-conscious about speaking, if you have afflictions between Mercury and Saturn. Isolated communication, feeling isolated and separated, feeling judged by what you say, okay? Okay, worried mind, negative thinking, pessimistic speech and thinking, accusing, divisive communication. We all know Saturn is the accuser.
The last one is Mercury
Mercury and Saturn.
and Saturn.
Yeah, that's why self-consciousness is Saturn. Saturn is always self-conscious, you know. People that are very self-conscious are feeling like they're being judged or worried about saying anything because they think they'll be, you know, judged by something they do. Isolated communication, worried mind, negative thinking, pessimistic speech and thinking, accusing, divisive communication, cursing and crude in conversation, speech impediment, slow of speech. I have Mars squaring Mercury, and that produces fast speech. Saturn can do the opposite, slows everything down. Saturn makes obstacles in speech sometimes. Slow learners very often with Saturn, Mercury can be that. Okay. Mercury, Mars is the opposite, it's fast, it learns fast also. Okay, so it's amazing how many Saturn moon afflictions are in this room. It is really amazing. Okay, Pam has another, she has that. Real quick, we'll do this. And we're gonna spend more weeks here, don't worry, we got plenty of time to do this. But, okay, one thing you have is you have Mars in the 8th house in Capricorn, opposing Jupiter down here. Jupiter down here in your 2nd house. Listen to this. And it's Venus is right up here in Gemini 22. This is 28. Okay, Mars is opposing from your 8th house to your 2nd house. Your 2nd house rules you're born with Jupiter in the 2nd, and Venus coming up close behind it towards that 2nd house. but they're opposing Jupiter because Jupiter's opposing Mars in the 8th. The 8th house rules anything to do with other people's money, okay? Wills, legacies, things like that. Jupiter shows a strong ability, Venus and Jupiter towards the second shows a strong ability to bring in wealth in your life and good fortune, okay? But anytime you involve yourself with another person, Mars in the 8th house is other people's money. Anytime you get involved with other people's investments, money, or anything to do with that, you're gonna lose this. Because it's gonna be taken out of that house.
So explain that again?
Anytime you get involved with something to do with businesses that involve other people's money,
Or inheritance?
yeah, you're gonna lose.
So if you get an inheritance, is what you're saying?
You get it, you can lose it. You gotta be careful about who you deal with in money. Anything to do with money can cause loss for you if it involves working, trying to help somebody else do something in a business, or some venture that they want to do, and you invest in that, you're gonna lose.
I never did that.
Okay? But don't ever do it.
Okay.
Okay?
But I had an inheritance and I lost all that stuff.
Well,
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
okay, how did you lose it?
Well, it's complicated.
Okay, that's
I mean, I
okay.
lost it through, I had to live off of it. But I
Okay,
had to live off of it because I lost my nursing license because I got nabbed for an addiction, so it all went all the way, so I lost everything.
okay. That fits this aspect, you
Yeah.
know, because this is damage to you financially,
Yeah.
okay? And it's real strong because Mars is in Capricorn, it's real powerful. in
But
that
I'm
side.
back again. I mean, like I
Yeah.
come back, that's the
Yeah.
thing, so that's good.
But the thing is that you want to always avoid,
Got that Jesus thing
Oh,
going on.
avoid. This is the house of wills and legacies right here, 8th house. It's also other people's money. It's money that comes through wills and legacies, but it's also money that involves other people. Don't invest with other people.
Yeah, I've never done that.
You know, it could hurt you is what I'm saying. But you wouldn't know that unless you did the chart. See what I'm saying? Somebody may come to you and say, oh, you got all this inheritance, let's do this together.
Well, a lot of people will come to me or have come to me and will ask me for money, but not to invest,
Yeah,
just to help them.
but that can also be a losing proposition for you.
Yes.
So you want to avoid that too. I don't mean don't be generous and don't help people when you can, but also know that they'll take advantage of you. And they do it easily in this chart, okay? You have Saturn, Saturn and the Moon conjunct. It's a white orb, it's 14 degrees, it's still moving conjunction. And the Moon is opposing your Sun in your chart. And that is also squaring Pluto. You have Pluto, Sun, Moon, and a cross, T-cross. It's
So I
like
have
this.
yeah, right here.
You know that?
No, I figured there had to be a cross in there somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't know where it was, but I figured there had to be one in there.
Gotta be something in there somewhere, right?
Pluto is squaring the moon or the sun?
Pluto is, Pluto, whoops, I'm doing this one. Here, Pluto is squaring Mars.
Oh, Mars.
Wait, is that right? Leo, yeah, wait, no, Leo, Virgo. No, it's not squaring Mars. Let me see what it's doing. It's squaring the Moon.
Oh, the moon.
It's squaring the Moon over here. In 18 degrees of Scorpio. And Saturn's in Scorpio at 4 degrees. See, there's an interesting thing about this chart. Remember I told you 3 ways to find something in a chart. You want to find 8th house, you're going to talk about legacies, wills, right? Death, all that stuff. You want to find out about the planet that is involved in that's Pluto. In your case, Pluto's sitting down here at 22 Leo, so it's right here, 22 Leo. Okay. So you have the Moon and Saturn also in Scorpio, which is the 8th house sign. Scorpio and 8th house are connected. So that shows, again, that legacy and will thing, very strong, from family, okay? That's Saturn and the Moon, okay? You also have the Moon opposition Sun. One of the things that we talked about a lot in this room, we talked about this Moon opposition Sun being what? conflict?
Is your spirit, your personality, and your
Subconscious.
subconscious.
Good. Your soul, your spirit, war with one another, right? And Saturn in your chart is conjunct by a wide orb to the moon. So it's a hard one to read, but it tends to be there. The thing with Saturn to the moon is there tends to be strong issues that revolve around feeling used in life. Does that make any sense to you?
Yeah,
I don't ask you.
like a servant.
Huh?
Like I was like a servant. That's what I feel like. Yeah.
You were the what?
Servant.
Yeah.
Used in that
Used.
regard.
Yeah, yeah.
Growing up. Yep.
Yeah, and that aspect gives that, because Saturn is the key word for Capricorn and
I
Saturn.
mean, I don't
is
feel
well.
that as much now at this time in my life.
You've outgrown a lot of it.
I hope so. I sure
Yeah.
hope so.
Well, Saturn is I use Capricorn, remember? Saturn tends to make you feel used, okay? It can be sexually by a man. You're feeling like you've been used. I'm not really loved, I'm used. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
You've gone through this, I'm sure, but I don't want to get
Yeah.
real personal with you. So there's this energy that comes from this aspect, and it also tends to leave you feeling emotionally drained in life, because Saturn constantly pulls your emotional state.
Constantly drained.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I have to go and like regroup, sometimes for long periods of time.
Yeah, yeah. But you have the wisdom to do that, and to quote, withdraw and return, withdraw and return.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like there's no choice.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I worked for years as a psychiatric nurse in the inner city, so I mean, it was just like constant, like.
Constant drain.
Yeah, and then, you know, raising 2 kids by myself, so it was just like,
Yeah.
everywhere I looked, I was being drained. You know?
Well, you know, the thing about this chart is, I mean, there's, even though I picked, you notice I always go for the juggler first, right? You see me do that all the time. I do it on purpose, because I don't want to play with you. I want you to see its accuracy. But you have Venus conjunct Jupiter. It's one of the most powerful aspects in a chart anybody can ever have. My wife has it. It's called, yeah, it's wisdom, Jupiter, and Venus love. And Christ was called what? Wisdom is made, said this, he
May
said,
love may
wisdom,
manifest."
wisdom is made perfect in what? In love. You are basically extraordinarily powerful woman as far as the ability to love people, you're very generous. You take advantage a lot because of that, but you know, that's your nature. And you're here really, because these are both in Gemini, you're really here to teach. You should be doing what I'm doing. Not necessarily astrology, but psychology, something.
Yeah, well, I've been a psychiatric nurse for
Yeah.
38 years.
You have a lot to share.
Yeah, I mean, and I always, what's funny is that I always find myself just, like, it's like I get dropped, like, seems like randomly into someone's life for like could be a
That's
moment,
me.
a second or whatever.
Must have
And it's like, it's just these like most profound things that you'll say to them, and it's just like, oh my God. But I just kind of wish like someone would drop into my life and say something profound to me, you know what I mean? But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like a little bit like that, you
Yeah.
know?
You attract that, just
Well,
like me.
it'll just
Yeah.
come like out of nowhere, and you know,
Yeah.
and you could just tell either by they'll literally will tell you, or the feeling of their energy that I just know myself, like I like feel like I was meant to deliver like that message.
But it makes you feel good to know that you're in that position.
Sometimes it does, but sometimes when we get back to the weary
Drain.
phase of it, it's
Drain.
like, okay, come on, when's someone going to drop me a
Too much.
message, or
Yeah.
you know, be loving and kind, you know? And I think what happened now is I overcame a lot of it, but I'm a little bit unsure that I think now I kind of went all the way in the other direction, and I don't really
Withdrawn.
want to trust anyone.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and
And
that's not good
isolated,
either,
isolated.
because the biggest thing that I would say is that I feel like an orphan, and I feel alone, and yet I'm very comfortable being by myself.
Okay,
all the
stop a
time,
minute. I want to share something with
You
you.
know?
I want you just spoke your chart.
Oh, okay.
Listen, let me say this. What did you just say? Listen, everybody pay attention to this. Saturn conjunct the moon. Saturn is alone. We talked about that up here. Do you remember I said up here, watch this. I said the moon, where's it?
And Saturn is the bottom.
Yeah, I said something about, wow, alone.
It's down from Saturn opposition.
Help me, you see what I'm looking for? What it is Saturn isolates you, makes you